to study illustration of quadratic equation in one variable. So you are expected to recall a quadratic equation in one variable and to illustrate a quadratic equation. But first, let us review that when we multiply polynomials, we multiply each term or terms from the first polynomial to each term or terms of the other polynomial. Halimbawa, magmumultiply tayo ng monomial and another monomial. Let's say 3x multiplied by 4x. So here, we multiply the two constant or the coefficients. 3 times 4 equals 12. Then, we multiply the variables. X times x equals x squared. Isa pang halimbawa, magmumultiply tayo ng monomial by a binomial. For example, a monomial 5x is multiplied by the binomial x plus 3. So here, we apply the distributive property of multiplication. Ibig sabihin, i-multiply natin yung 5x doon sa bawat term or terms ng ating binomial which are x and 3. Therefore, we multiply first 5x and x, then 5x and 3. Tingnan natin. So ganito, 5 times by the invisible 1. Tinatawag ko siyang invisible 1 kasi hindi na natin isinusulat yung coefficient na nandito. Since 1 is the coefficient of x, no need to write 1 here. Pero meron tayong coefficient dito na 1. So 5 times 1, and that is 5. Next, we multiply the variable x. So x times x is x squared. After that, we are going to multiply 5x by the constant 3. Nagmumultiply tayo by distributive property. Therefore, 5 times 3 equals 15. And x multiplied by the invisible 1. Since ang x natin dito or yung ating variable dito is raised to 0, which is equal to 1, so x times 1 is equal to x. Or simply, pag nagmumultiply tayo ng may variable sa constant, yung coefficients na lang ang pinagmumultiply natin. Halimbawa, pag magmumultiply tayo ng binomial sa isa pang binomial, ito yung halimbawa natin. We multiply the binomial 2x minus 1 and the binomial 5x plus 2. And as we all know, kapag nagmumultiply tayo ng binomial by another binomial, madali sa ating gawin o i-follow yung procedure o yung method na tinatawag na FOIL method. Ano ba itong FOIL method ulit? Ito yung unahin natin yung mga first terms, after that, the outer terms, then the inner terms, and the last terms. So dito, pinag-multiply natin yung mga yun. So let's try first terms. Multiply natin yung mga first terms. So mga first terms natin dito ay 2x at saka 5x. Therefore, 2 times 5 equals 10. The variables, x times x, x squared. So tapos na tayo sa mga first terms. Next, the outer terms. Ang ibig sabihin ng outer terms, yung mga nasa gilid. Itong 2x at saka itong 2. So let's say we multiply the two coefficients. So 2 times 2 equals 4. Then we just copy x or multiply x by 1. So that is x. Next, we multiply the inner terms. The inner terms are negative 1 and 5x. So dito sa negative 1, wala na siyang variable dito. So may invisible 1 siya dito na i-multiply natin later on sa ating variable x. So c na tinatawag ding coefficient ay dapat real numbers. Pero ang a ay hindi dapat equal sa 0. Kung bakit? Kasi mawawala na yung ating ax squared, which signifies our highest exponent. So mawawala or hindi na magiging quadratic equation yung ating equation. At yung a ay tinatawag din nating leading coefficient. Technically, we have three terms of quadratic equation. Given that our quadratic equation is in its standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. At ito ang mga tatlong terms na ito. Ax squared, bx, and c na tumutukoy sa quadratic term, linear term, and constant term. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na kapag quadratic equation ay tatlo parati ang terms nito. Kagaya nito. 12x squared, merong isang term. 5x squared plus 15x, dalawa lang yung terms nito. So, ibig sabihin, as long as meron tayo nung quadratic term, quadratic equation pa rin ito. Note, it is very important to determine first whether a given polynomial is quadratic or not. Meron kasing given na kailangan mo munang isimplify para malaman kung quadratic ito o hindi. Kailangan din natin matukoy kung ang quadratic equation na ito ay nasa kanyang standard form o hindi. Halimbawa, meron tayong quadratic equation in this form. 4x squared minus x plus 5 equals 0. So, ano masasabi ninyo dito? Tama. Nasa kanyang standard form. So, kung nasa standard form na siya at alam na natin quadratic siya, madali na lang nating madetermina ang mga components nito. Since the variable x has the highest exponent of 2, then this equation is quadratic equation. The coefficients are a equals 4, b equals -1, tandaan niyo yung sinasabi kong invisible 1, and c equals 5. While the quadratic term is 4x squared, the linear term is -x, and the constant term is 5. Sa makatwid, napakadaling i-determine ang iba't ibang components ng ating quadratic equation kung naka-standard form na siya. Another example. Meron tayo nito. 2m multiplied by the binomial 3m minus 1 plus 3 is equal to 4m plus 5. Sa unang tingin, wala tayong makikitang exponent na 2 at hindi rin siya nakaayos sa kanyang standard form. Kaya, kailangan nating i-simplify and to express in its standard form. Simplify para malaman kung quadratic siya o hindi. Kung quadratic siya, i-express natin sa kanyang standard form. So, anong gagawin natin? Okay, tama. We use the distributive property of multiplication. So, paano gawin yan? At saan natin gagamitin yan? Tama, dito sa 2m at saka yung binomial na 3m minus 1. So, 2 times 3, that is 6. M times m equals m squared. Then, we distribute 2m by -1. So, 2m times -1 is -2m. Bring down, plus 3 equals 4m plus 5. So, anong susunod na gagawin natin dito? Tama, addition property of equality. Dito, mag-add tayo ng common term or terms on both sides of the equation. In this case, we add -4m and -5. Anong goal natin dito? Tama, para maging 0 yung ating right side of the equation. So, anong nangyari dito? Ganyan, -2 plus -4m, that's equal to -6m. Yung 6m squared natin, nakita natin, kinapi lang natin. At yung -2, paano nangyari? Ito naman siya. We add +3 and -3. and the result is negative 2. Try to observe the given quadratic equation. Tama, nakita ninyo, hindi pa siya nakasimplify. So, reduce the coefficients into its lowest form. And to do that, we need to think of common factors that can be divided sa ating quadratic equation. At tama, 2 ang ating i-divide. So, ang final quadratic equation natin is 3m squared minus 3m minus 1 equals 0. So, since the variable m has the highest exponent of 2, then we can say na quadratic equation siya talaga. Since nalaman na natin ng ating equation is quadratic equation at naiayos na natin sa kanyang standard form, madali na lang sa atin ang pag-determine ng iba't ibang components nito, gaya ng kanyang mga coefficients. A equals 3, B equals negative 3, and C equals 1. Gayon din yung mga iba't ibang mga terms, gaya ng quadratic term na 3m squared, ang kanyang linear term na negative 3m, at ang kanyang constant term is negative 1. Take note, mas madaling i-determine ang iba't ibang components ng quadratic equation kung ito ay nakasulat sa kanyang standard form. Halimbawa, n squared minus n minus 2 equals 0. Ang kanyang mga coefficients are a equals 1, b equals negative 1, and c equals negative 2. Ang kanyang quadratic term, n squared. Ang kanyang linear term is negative n, at ang kanyang constant term is negative 2. Sa panghalimbawa, 13v squared plus 23v plus 33 equals 0. Ang kanyang mga coefficients are a equals 13, b equals 23, and c equals 33. Ang kanyang quadratic term is 13v squared. Ang kanyang linear term is 23v, at ang kanyang constant term is 33. Tandaan na kailangan nasa standard form siya at naka-simplified ang mga coefficients, reduced to its lowest form. Take note that there are situations like word problems that is represented through quadratic equation, not just linear equation. Halimbawa ng word problem ay ito: vegetable garden. In the middle of a crisis, where establishments are closed and prime commodities are hard to find, we think of having our own vegetable garden. This way, we can get our supplies of vegetable right in our own backyard. Aling Tuding is a resourceful person. That is why she's planning to convert her rectangular vacant lot at the back of her house into a vegetable garden. She remembered that the area of her vacant lot is 15 square meters. She also recalled that the length is 3 meters longer than the width. Without even starting to cultivate the soil, Aling Tuding is already excited to harvest her favorite vegetables soon. At meron tayong tanong dito: anong equation daw ang magre-represent ng mga attributes ng kanyang rectangular garden? At sa tingin mo ba, magagamit mo itong equation na ito sa pag-determine ng iba't ibang mga dimensions ng rectangular garden? Why or why not? So here, kailangan nating i-determine yung iba't ibang mga facts sa given problem. So una, andyan ka yung rectangular lot or yung rectangular garden. Meron din tayong tinatawag na width and length nito. At nabanggit din ang kanyang area, which is equal to 15 square meters. At nabanggit din na ang length nito ay 3 meters longer than the width. At syempre, meron tayong tinatawag na implied given. Since pinag-usapan natin ang area ng rectangle, so dapat alam natin yung formula ng area of a rectangle. That is A equals length times width. Now let's proceed with the procedure on how to determine the equation. So let x be the measure of the width. So kung x ay ang ating width, base sa given na length is 3 meters longer than the width, sasabi natin ang kanyang length ay 3 plus x. And we use the formula for the area of a rectangle. Then we substitute for each given. A for area is equal to 15, length is 3 plus x, and our width is x. We simplify the equation by distributive property of multiplication, and we have 15 equals 3x plus x squared. Solving it further by addition property of equality, we add negative 15 on both sides of the equation. Therefore, we have 0 equals 3x plus x squared minus 15. Pag sinimplify natin ito, magkakaroon tayo ng standard form of quadratic equation, x squared plus 3x minus 15 equals 0. So, yung tanong na una kanina ay atin ang nasagot. At sa pangalawa, I think ang sagot doon is yes. We can use this to determine for the value of each dimension. Take note also that almost all word problems involving illustration of quadratic equations are similar. Ibig sabihin nito, madali lang sa atin i-determine na kung ang hinahanap halimbawa ay area ng square o ng rectangle, meron ng kinalaman ang quadratic equation. O kaya ay pag i-express tayo ng one dimension ng rectangular ulit o kaya square surface areas or surfaces, ay alam na nating gamitin ang quadratic equation. Gayon din kapag nag-illustrate tayo in the equation of surface area of rectangular prism. O kaya ay kapag ang given ay perimeter ng rectangular or ng rectangle or ng square objects at express natin into equation. At marami pang iba. So almost the same ang mga ito. There are also situations like number problems that is represented through quadratic equation, not just linear equation. Halimbawa ng number problem. Ito. So let's solve first. The product of two numbers is 48 and their sum is 16. Let x be the first number and y be the second number. Since mayroong dalawang numbers dito na magkaiba. Hindi natin alam, so sabihin natin yung una ay x at yung pangalawa naman ay y. So based from the given, ang product daw ng dalawang number o numbers ay 48. So ibig sabihin, x times y equals 48. And the second statement is, ang sum nila is 16. So ibig sabihin, pag pinag-add natin yung x at saka y, ang dapat sum is 16. Now, in this case, ang aking focus ay yung x plus y equals 48. Because our goal here is to determine its quadratic equation. At hindi tayo magkakaroon ng quadratic equations x plus y. So ang gagawin ko dito, I will express my y in terms of x. So therefore, kapag ilipat ko yung x sa kabila or using the addition property of equality, magkakaroon ako ng y equals 48 minus x. At itong value ng y na ito ang aking isa-substitute dito sa x times y equals 48, na kung saan ang aking y ay magiging 48 minus x. So applying the distributive property of multiplication, magkakaroon na ako ng 48x minus x squared equals 48. At kung ayusin ko yan into standard form of quadratic equation, magkakaroon ako ng x squared minus 48x plus 48 equals 0. Second problem, the product of two consecutive even integers is 288. Dito, meron tayong una at pangalawang numero ulit. Pero dito, even integers. Ibig sabihin, dalawang magkasunod na even integers na ang pagitan ay dalawa. So let x be the first number and the second number x plus 2. Gaya ng sinabi ko, pagka even integers, Ang diferensya nilang dalawa ay 2. So, mag-a-add tayo ng 2. So, x plus 2. So, using the given statement that is 2 consecutive even integers, product of 2 consecutive even integers, I multiplied x by x plus 2. Then, using the distributive property of multiplication, I will arrive at the product x squared plus 2x, then equals 288. And applying the addition property of equality, I will add negative 288 on both sides of the equation. Hence, I will arrive dun sa standard form natin na x squared plus 2x minus 288 equals 0. And last, number problem. If the square of a number is added to 8 times the number, the result is 100. So here, meron tayong isang numero na kung saan ang gagawin natin dyan ay i-add daw natin 8 times sa parehong numero. So let x be the number. Dito, meron tayong x squared. Galing yan sa statement na square a number. Added, sabi dito, so plus 8 times the number. So that is 8x. Then, the result is, so pag sinabing is, equals 100. And applying the distributive property and addition property of equality, magkakaroon tayo ng kanyang final standard form x squared plus 8x minus 100 equals 0. So let us summarize. Quadratic equations in one variable are polynomial equations of the second degree. Quadratic equations in one variable are polynomial equations whose highest exponent of this variable is 2. A, B, and C are real numbers. It is also called the coefficients where A is not equal to 0. A is called the leading coefficient. There are usually 3 terms in a quadratic equation, namely quadratic term, linear term, and constant term. Word problems involving quadratic equation are needed to be expressed into mathematical expression properly before solving a problem. That's it. Try answering the activities in your self-learning modules and your learning activity sheets. Feel free to message me if you have questions. Now for our next lessons, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, and Module 5, just see link in the description.